Welcome to Hannity. 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 8 o'clock here in Chicago, 6 o'clock on the West Coast, and we are in beautiful Chicago, Illinois, so you don't have to be kidding. But tonight we are entering an ultra creepy, ultra sketchy phase of the DNC. Let's see. I want to say hi to all the girls in the audience here in Chicago. How you doing? My name is Bill Clinton. You all look so beautiful out there. Anyway, he's going to be up there. Tim Walz will be up there. Don't expect a lot of truth-telling. Let me tell you what has gone on most of the night tonight. They spent a ton of time talking about Project 25. That's all you want to hear. All you hear, Project 25, Project 25, Project 25. There's a problem. Donald Trump is not a part of Project 25, never has been. It's a project he has said over and over again. He doesn't know anything about it. He has no intention of enacting it. And the parts people have told him about it, he said flat out, I don't agree with it. These are lies. And this has been a week of lying and distortion and propaganda, misinformation, and smear, slander, besmirchment of Donald Trump. And everything from abortion, immigration, the economy, energy, law, order, a week of running away from their own words, their own stated policies. One of the biggest tonight at the Democratic nominee at the Democratic nominees convention, Kamala's convention. They again spent an inordinate amount of time attacking Trump. You know, this is Kamala Harris, and talking about January 6th. Okay, rioting is wrong. Totally agree. Said it that day on my radio show, that night on this TV show. Kamala, who tweeted out the Minnesota bail fund 4 days after a police, oh, that's right. You see the fire in the background. Those are mostly peaceful protests. Right there, mostly peaceful. So far, we're monitoring what's going on here in Chicago tonight. But in 2020, remember, that police precinct was burned to the ground. 4 days later, you know, there's Kamala Harris, you know, saying, take note, beware, to Stephen Colbert. These rioters won't stop. They shouldn't stop. We're not going to stop. The person said that these riots will continue. Said she just dedicated a huge portion of the night lecturing this country tonight at her convention about rioting. The summer of 2020, let me remind you, 574 official riots, dozens of dead Americans, thousands of injured police officers. Remember, they were the ones pelted with bricks, rocks, bottles, Molotov cocktails. There were billions and billions of dollars in property damage. And then she chose a running mate of all running mates, the Bernie Sanders of governors, who made excuses for all of the rioting in his state of Minnesota. He's the guy that refused to call in the National Guard while Minneapolis was burning, whose family decided that rather than calling the Guard, they were going to open the windows to the home that they were living in. They wanted to take in the smell of burning rubber from all the rioting. Now, needless to say, well, Comrade Kamala's very weird far-left running mate with a very strange affection for communist China, who is masquerading as a moderate guy from the Midwest. He's anything but. Well, he has had a lot of trouble with the truth. And the media mob, complicit, as always, biggest donors to the Harris-Walz campaign. Walz, let's see, he's been accused of lying about his rank in the National Guard, a deployment in a war zone in Iraq that he actually skipped out on, a drunk driving arrest where he pretended to have a disability. Walz even apparently lied about conceiving his children with the help of IVF. He's also accused of embellishing his time as a high school football coach, when in reality, he was a volunteer assistant coach who helped out with defense. He was never a head coach. Walz is the poster child, if you will, for the entire convention. And the Harris campaign, which has been fake and phony and fraudulent, it's sort of like con artist, you know, Kamala, or con artist, Comrade Kamala. But the very beginning, for example, here is a breakaway meeting at the DNC. I want you to pay very close attention. Now, this was one speaker saying the quiet part out loud. This is all a lie. This is all manipulation. This is all fake. This is all phony. It is all fraudulent. Their true intentions are being hidden. Oh, like, let's see, eliminating or insisting and co-sponsoring Medicare for all, eliminating private health insurance, universal health care. She co-sponsored it with Bernie Sanders. The Green New Deal, she also co-sponsored with Bernie Sanders. But her campaign says she doesn't believe that anymore. But the real truth came out, not on purpose. Take a look.
We got 70 days to act right, y'all.
That's right.
Now, after 7 days, we can go back there and crazy. Right? I tell people during Kwanzaa, for 7 days, we're going to be conscious, then we can go back to self-hatred. But for 7 days, for 70 days, I hope not. I hope not. But for those who got to, just wait 70 days to go back. Please, be good.
Just please be good for 70 days, then we can go back to being crazy. That's their plan in a nutshell. They just want to get to Election Day without highlighting any of Kamala Harris's insane, frankly, communist policies, her real belief system, no fracking, no drilling, higher taxes on everything, and, of course, a radical foreign policy agenda on top of all of that, and defund, dismantle the police, no bail, and we got to defund ICE, too. But if elected, all bets are off. Medicare for all, Green New Deal, socialist price controls, taxes on pretty much everything through the roof. And the great irony of all of this is these radical measures would hurt lower and middle income Americans the most. They've even lied about the number of jobs that have been created by nearly 1 million, according to reports out today. That is a big lie. We created all these jobs. Well, they didn't. A lot of the jobs that they did create were, quote, part-time. And they went to a lot of the illegal immigrants because of the unvetted illegals coming from over 180 countries into our country, including people with terror ties, including coming from countries with terror ties, including coming from our top geopolitical foes. Now, of course, the Democrats and their class warfare is nothing but a phony emotional appeal to help them consolidate wealth and power. It's all about the power. For example, last night during her speech, Michelle Obama, she said her parents, quote, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed. The Obamas have an estimated net worth of $70 to $100 million with 4 palatial estates, one here in Chicago, one in Hawaii, Martha's Vineyard, and Washington, D.C. By the way, good for them. I believe in capitalism. But using class warfare in order to raise taxes and costs on all of you, the people that really do make the country great, hardworking Americans, get up, work hard, play by the rules, pay their taxes, obey the laws, that would be unethical and underhanded. But it's kind of like buying a beachfront mansion on Martha's Vineyard while shaming Americans for using plastic straws because of climate change and rising sea levels. By the way, number of Democrats here, how many of them flew in on their beautiful private jets while lecturing you about your caravan or your pickup truck? There's obviously an ulterior motive and a lot of hypocrisy. Now, of course, the deception doesn't end there. All week, the Obamas, other Democrats have called for national unity and kindness and joy while launching nothing but nonstop personal attacks against Donald Trump and his supporters. And today, Donald Trump responded. Take a look.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
Well, you might notice President Trump was speaking behind bulletproof glass. This was his first outdoor rally since getting shot by a would-be assassin. But you're not going to hear anything about that at the DNC. Democrats are doing absolutely nothing to bring down the temperature, but that didn't stop Trump from coming out from behind the glass to check on a supporter who passed out because of the heat. Kamala, on the other hand, won't go 5 feet away from a teleprompter. Seems like she's not able to do it. She hasn't had a press conference, a gaggle, no interviews. Democratic elites are terrified that Americans will see the real Kamala Harris, that she will have to answer to her own words and her own beliefs and her own stated policies. They would also prefer that we not talk about her track record as Biden's VP. On day one, I'm going to fix inflation. I'm going to get the prices of groceries down. What have you been doing for 3.5 years except telling us inflation is transitory, the border is secure, and everything's great? Today, as I pointed out, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they quietly released a revised jobs report showing that America created nearly 1 million fewer jobs in March under Biden and Harris than originally reported. This was the largest downgrade in 15 years, although not the first. Numerous other glowing jobs reports under the Biden-Harris administration have also been quietly downgraded. And today, Biden's Commerce Secretary didn't seem to know anything about the downgrade and blamed Trump. When in doubt, always blame Trump. For the border, blame Trump. For inflation, blame Trump. You know, for the dog bites, the bee stings, if you're feeling sad, you can always blame Donald Trump. Take a look.
Today, the Bureau of Labor saying that more than 800,000 fewer jobs were actually created than initially reported. And we have a soundbite here just to play. We can listen to it together because Donald Trump is already addressing this on the campaign trail. So let's take a listen to that one together.
The administration padded the numbers with an extra, listen to this one, 818,000 jobs that don't exist.
So when you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, why would you ever know those real numbers? Of course, blame Trump. Now, there was just one main qualification for employment at the Biden-Harris White House. If you hated Donald Trump, you're in. For Democrats, nothing else seems to matter. That's been on display. This is night 3 of the same message. And so for the next 4 years, well, you can expect either elect a bunch of incompetent Trump-obsessed maniacs or an administration that will actually make your life better. Ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And also, what has Kamala done that is successful that would warrant a huge promotion? If Kamala has some big, bold plans to improve the quality of life that she's been hiding for the last 4 years, I think she should unveil them right here at this convention. Instead, the policy issues section of our website, it doesn't exist. We'll have a lot more from inside the convention straight ahead. Bill Clinton, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to Chicago. A lot of hot people out there in the crowd. I want to say hello to everybody. How you doing? I'll give a tour later on to everybody. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.